everyone! I am going to now explain to you how to find the surface area of a triangular prism. So first of all, we need to know what a triangular prism is. So I have drawn out a little shape for you here. So I have the 3D shape right here, and triangular prisms, just so you know, can look differently. This one is an equilateral triangular prism, so where all three of these sides are the same length. You can also get them, I'm just gonna flip this around. This is my volume sheet, but you can also get them a right-angled triangular prism. So just because they look differently, same formula. So don't let that throw you off. Okay, so here we go, back to my surface area side. I've also shown you the net here, so you know what it looks like once you open up the shape, because that actually helps a lot when you're finding the surface area. Because the formula, I'm just gonna show you right here. Formula is a little bit daunting, but actually it's not that bad once I explain it to you. So the surface area is 2 multiplied by base times height divided by 2. So what that means is this, remember, is the formula, base times height divided by 2 is the formula for finding the area of a triangle, which is right there or right there, okay? So we want to find the area of, well, all of these sides, okay? So the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2. But then we're multiplying that by 2 because there's 2 triangles. So I'm just gonna give you a little secret. You don't have to do that. You can just get rid of that divide by 2, get rid of that multiply by 2, and just go base times height. Because 2 triangles equals a parallelogram, as we have already learned. So why cause extra work for yourself? If that doesn't make sense to you, then calculate the area of each triangle. So you're doing base times height divided by 2 for one triangle, multiply it by 2, then you've got your 2 triangles, and la-di-da. Okay, now this part, you need to now multiply the, calculate the area of each of these rectangles. So you'll see the shape, again, one side, the other side, and the bottom. And that's why I find nets are really helpful, because they're just 3 rectangles, okay? So to find the area of a rectangle, it's just simply length times width, length times width, length times width. And then you add all 3 of those together, okay? Add those together, you'll get a number, add this guy to this guy, and then you get the total surface area, all right? So this is where you need to be careful, because I have labeled them here, they're all W's, but you'll see that this bottom one here, the width of the shape, is also the same as the base, right? It's the same distance, but I've labeled it for you twice just so you understand that this is the base, this is also the width. I just happen to label it on the back side, right? So this width multiplied by this length will give you the area for the bottom, okay? This angled width here would be this side as well as this side, remember? There we go, our little shape. So the width here multiplied by the length, again, same length as this, will give you the surface area for this rectangle. And same thing for this side, this width multiplied by this length will give you the surface area for this side. So that's why you need to add these together. You've already calculated these 2 right here, so that's perfect. Once you add this all together, you get all 5 sides of your triangular prism, and that is the surface area. And let's do an example together now.
So if you could please get out a piece of paper and a pencil, we will begin by taking some notes on the triangular prism. So up at the top, again, just put the title, triangular prism, and then draw out the shape. So I explained it earlier, but I have the 3D version and the net, and then the formula, if you could highlight that or box it so it stands out on your page. And now for the example. So draw the shape again and do your best to add those 3D lines. I find that really helps me because then I can actually see the different sides. So we have a height of 10 feet. That's the first thing we need to recognize here is where is the height? We have a base of 17 feet. So when we start with our formula, again, that's always what we start with. We have 2 multiplied by base times height divided by 2, close that bracket, plus, now your 3 rectangles, length times width plus length times width plus length times width. So that 17 base gets plugged in instead of a B, and the 10 height gets plugged in instead of the H. So that's the first thing we need to do. And you'll see here that I have actually crossed out the 2 2s for the reason that I explained earlier. To find the area of a triangle, you go base times height divided by 2. But we have 2 triangles, so I want to multiply that by 2. Well, when you divide by 2 and then multiply by 2, it counteracts each other, so you might as well not have done it in the first place. So that is why I just crossed those 2 2s out. You will get the exact same answer as if you do it, divide by 2, then multiply by 2, or if you just choose to cross them out. Then continuing with the formula, I now plug in all of the numbers, and this is where you need to take your time. So taking a look at the different lengths and widths, our length for the bottom. So if you take a look at the triangle, first of all, this is not an equilateral triangle that is up at the top of the page. This is a different type of triangle, okay? So you have a length of 6 feet. You have one of your widths, again, is the same base, so that's 17 feet. Another one of your widths is the shorter angled side, which is 3 feet. And your final width is the 15 feet. So if you were to open up this shape, and maybe I would recommend doing that if you want to draw out the net so you can see the 3 rectangles, that may be helpful for you. You will see that you need to go 17 by 6 to get the bottom, 15 by 6 to get that large right-hand rectangle if you were to open it up, and 3 multiplied by 6 will give you that left-hand rectangle. It's kind of shorter but longer, okay? So all 3 of these have the same length, just so you know that, okay? But the widths are different. On the next line, I now simplify. So 17 times 6 was 102, 15 times 6 was 90, 3 times 6 is 18. So I plugged those in there. And as I mentioned earlier, that 170 just came from 17 times 10. Then I simplify even further on the next line. And finally, I get my answer of 380 feet squared.